You're listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe of Torch in Houston, Texas. This is the Jewish Inspiration Podcast.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Mussar Masterclass. We are in the middle of the gate of slander. Last week, we began this journey speaking about slander and its devastating impact on mankind, on those who listen to it, and those who speak it. And we are in the Treasure for Life edition of the Orchos, Tzaddikim, Ways of the Righteous on page 777. All right, 777. We're middle of the page for day number 140. And the Orchos Tzaddikim begins as follows. HaMesaper dvarim shegormim im nishma ish mipi ish lahazik lechavero hein begufa hein b'amono va'afilu lahotzer lo o lahafchido harei ze Lashon Hara. He says, anytime you open your mouth and share words that do damage to your friend, whether the damage be physical, whether it be emotional, whether it be financial, it doesn't make a difference. It's Lashon Hara. Anytime what your words cause damage to another person is considered Lashon Hara. Ha'omer dvar sod l'chaver. Someone tells his friend a secret. Osor legalosa below rishus. You are not allowed to reveal it without permission. V'chol hane'emar b'fnei shlosha, and anything which is said in front of three people. Osu kamo yadu al hakol v'im siper echad min hashlosha ein bo mishum Lashon Hara. So there's something called apet, which is speaking in front of three people. Once you speak, you say something in front of three people, it's considered, even if you say it's private, it really doesn't make a difference. Once you say something in front of three people, it's considered as if it's public information, and they are not obligated to keep it a secret. If you want something to be a secret, keep it a secret. I have a very dear friend of mine, and he always tells me, whenever we talk, he says, don't ever tell me secrets, because I'm terrible with secrets. I don't remember what I was allowed to say, what I was not allowed to say. If it's a secret, don't tell me. And I don't think that he really doesn't. He just doesn't want that responsibility, that if he did reveal for someone else's secret, he doesn't want to undertake that responsibility. Ve'aval imhu miskaven legalos yoser yesh bo mishum Lashon Hara. And if this person now is intending to reveal this to other people, even though it was in front of three, it is considered Lashon Hara. V'im ha'omer, he's here, hashomim shelo yigalu, afilu amru b'fnei rabim, yesh bo mishum Lashon Hara. He says, if the guy warns you and tells you not to share it, then it would fall into the category of Lashon Hara. So different than what I said earlier. Ka'ahu ma'aseh b'talmud echad. It was like the story of one student. Shegilo davar shenamar beis hamedrash. He revealed something that was told to him in the study hall. After 22 years, he revealed this. Ve'afke Rav Ami mi bei midrasha, and he was evicted from the study hall, from the Beis Medrash, by Rav Ami. Omar, Rav Ami said to him, Dein gale razia. This is a revealer of secrets. And he says still, there's another sin. So we see from that story in the Talmud in Sanhedrin that you're not allowed to reveal secrets. He says, but now we have another sin of speech, and that is the speech of rechilus. By the way, if someone tells you something privately, but doesn't tell it to you and warn you, this is a secret, don't tell anybody, I don't want anyone to know about this, they don't have to say that. They don't have to say that. If someone tells you something, you're not allowed to share it. Even if they don't forewarn you, telling you that it is a secret. Even if they don't say that, it's still considered a secret anytime someone reveals something to you. So what is rechilus? Rechilus is someone who is a talebearer, someone who runs around. A rochil is a peddler. He runs around peddling products. A rochil in rechilus is someone who peddles bad information about other people. Hanikreis Rechilus, which is called Rechilus. Ezo Rachel, who is a Rachel? Zeh sheton dvarim v'holich mizeh lezeh. Someone who says something and goes from one to the next. Ve'omer kach omar ploni. This is what so and so said. Kach v'kach shamati al ploni, and this is what I heard about him, and this is what I heard about him. And he goes around and he's constantly talking about what other people said or what other people did, or just information about other people. Afal pishu emes, even though what he's saying is true. He is destroying the world. And we were warned about this. As the Torah says, do not be a gossip monger, a talebearer among my nation, among your people. You reveal a secret that someone told you privately into the public. V'tanya minayin l'dayon l'kishiyetze, and that we learned, how do we know that a judge emerging from a trial should not say, Lo yomar ani mizake v'chaveri mechayvim, I rule innocent and my colleagues ruled guilty. You're not allowed to reveal what it is that you, if you're a judge of 3 is the smallest, but you have the judge of 21, you have the judge of 71, and you're not allowed to reveal what the other judges said or what you said. I said he was innocent. They said he's guilty. What can I do? They're the majority. That's why the verse states, do not be a talebearer among your people, and one who reveals a secret is a talebearer. You're not allowed to share private information. And leaked anonymous sources, are definitely not appropriate. He says, be very, very careful from Lashon Hara. This is something that we've said so many times in the Talmud. The Talmud says in Kiddushin that if you see the flaw in another person, you talk about the flaw of another person, just know you're really talking about yourself, the Talmud says. You're talking a flaw about another person, it's really you who suffers with that flaw. He says, olam, v'darko lifsol bnei adam b'mumo, ki mum sheyesh bo, hu munach tamid kol hayom belibo, v'kevan shuhu belibo, hu motzio misbifiv. He says, guard yourself greatly against slander, for through it you shame yourself. One who invalidates others is himself invalid. He cannot speak well of others and tends to brand them with his own faults. You see the flaws in others. Why do you see the flaws in others? Because it's glaring to yourself. It's the mirror in front of you. You see in others the flaws that you have. And this is a very harsh truth that the Talmud teaches us here. Ki kol adam nivchan v'nikar bidvarov ketzad. He says every person is identifiable, is recognized and perceived by the words that he uses. Imtira, he says, how is this so? Imtira adam shu ragil shabeach nashim v'ledaber mehem tamid dalacha shu ov nashim. If you see a guy in the habit of always praising women and who speaks of them always, he's known to be a womanizer. He's known to be someone who loves women. You have to identify that. Someone who is always talking about food and wine. And this is what his occupation is. He's a glutton. Because all he's talking about is food. All he's talking about is eating. And same thing, someone who only talks about cars, someone who only talks about houses, fashion, materialism. Torah. What you talk about is what you are. And this is a verse that he may bring here from King Solomon. He says, Ish kefi mahalalo. You can tell a person by what they praise. You can tell a person by what they talk about. Someone who talks about quality things is a quality person. Someone who talks about nonsense is full of nonsense. And so it is with everything. V'ra'aya min pasuk, and I'll tell you a proof of this from the verse. Ma'ahavti yisorasecha kol yom yisicho. See, the verse states in Psalms, how much do I love the Torah? It is my conversation all day. Something you love, you talk about a lot. You know, there's an amazing statement that I heard today in the name of one of my favorite rabbis ever, Rabbi Noach Weinberg of blessed memory. He used to put his children to sleep every night. And you know what he used to tell them? I love you so much. But you know who loves you a heck of a lot more? God. God loves you more than you can ever imagine. Much more than me or your mom. This is Reb Noach Weinberg used to say this to his children every single night. I love you so much. Hashem loves you so much more you can't even imagine. This is true. This is something we need to... And he always spoke about this. Reb Noach Weinberg always spoke about this. So what does it tell you about him? He was a person who always loved God. Because that's what he's talking about. Because I love your Torah. That's what I talk about all day. Perush bishvil shani oheves haTorah. Because I love the Torah, la'olam ani medaber bo. Therefore, I always talk about it. You see, people who love Torah always talk about Torah. People who love attention will always be seeking attention. Right? Those, whatever it is that you love, are the things that you talk about. Kol ki kol davar sha'adam ohev belibo hu tzarich tamid ledaber bimenu. Whatever a person loves deeply in his heart, he always talks about it. All right, so now he continues. Baal halashon mechapes la'olam mumei bnei adam. He says, someone who loves to talk and slander and walk around and tell people all the horrors of other people, such a person is always searching for the flaws of other people. He's always looking. You see that guy? You see that guy? He's looking at everybody. He's talking about everybody. He's looking to talk about them. He says he's like a fly. You know those bothersome flies that whenever you're trying to talk, they're annoying you. Why are they annoying you? He's going to talk about it in a second. He says, where do they go? Shehem yonuchu la'olam al malkam alichloch im yesh ba'adam shchin hazvuv menichim esaguf v'yesh v'alashchin. He says, what happens if a person puts dirt out? What gets attracted to the dirt? The garbage? The flies. The flies are attracted to garbage. See, he says, if you had boils, the flies would forego your body and go straight to the boils. They go straight for the dirt, for the filth. Kachu b'Lashon Hara. He says, so too with someone who speaks Lashon Hara. Meniach kol hatov ba'adam u'medaber min hara. He says, this person who only sees the bad, there's so much good in that person. But he can't help himself. He has to look at the bad. We also have flaws. You know, it's an amazing thing. In marriage therapy, I talk to a lot of couples who are facing challenges. And one of the things that I try to do with couples, and I always tell them, go to a therapist, go to someone who's thank you so much. Someone who's really skilled in helping couples who are facing challenges. I tell them, what are the qualities that you loved about each other when you got married? Right? Those qualities don't run away. But now, instead of focusing on the good stuff, you started focusing on the not so good stuff. But those not so good stuff were always there. And you even always noticed it. But you decided to focus on the good things. If you want to live a happy marriage for 120 years, for 100 years, if you get married when you're 20, focus on the good. Because the minute you start focusing on the no good, which everyone has at all times, everyone's got a basket of good stuff and a basket of not so good stuff. What do you want to focus on? That's the question. If you want to focus on the good stuff, you'll be happily married. You want to focus on the negative stuff, which every person has, even your next spouse, and the next spouse, and the next spouse. They're all going to have negative. This is the challenge in our world, is everything has become disposable. We've become a disposable world. Chad pa'ami, one-time use. You use your plastic fork, you throw it out. Use your plastic plate, throw it out. Use your plastic cup, throw it out. So marriages have become single use, disposable, recyclable. And it's tragic because it used to be that people had workshops in their garage where they wouldn't throw out a broken chair. They would fix that thing. They would fix that chair. They would bring it into their workshop and they would drill and they would glue and they would this and they would that because it's precious. It's something. It's an heirloom. It's something. Today, it doesn't mean anything. Throw it out. People throw out everything. There's no more value. And that's a very, very tragic thing. A person needs to find the good. I want to share with you an idea. I mentioned this today in our Kenny and Ziggy Lunch and Learn. An amazing idea. You know, the first mitzvah that was commanded to the Jewish people, first mitzvah in the Torah that was commanded to the Jewish people when they left Egypt, the month has the beginning. It's called Rosh Chodesh. Should be Rosh Chodesh, the laws of Rosh Chodesh. When you see a new moon, you see the new sliver of the moon. It's the Rosh Chodesh. This, of all things, this is the mitzvah, the first mitzvah, the most important mitzvah that you give the Jewish people. Rosh Chodesh, the laws of Rosh Chodesh. It's an astonishing thing. Why? Why is that the most important mitzvah? And also, why are we saying the blessing on the new moon when it's weak, when it's so small? Shouldn't we make the blessing when it's at full power? In the middle of the month, you got a full moon, like tonight. That's perfect. That's the right time. Why are we reciting a blessing on the moon when it's so small? Our sages tell us the Jewish people are like the moon. God is like the sun, and the Jewish people are like the moon. Sages tell us, when you see even the slightest sliver of goodness in another Jew, recite a blessing. Say blessing. Say, look how blessed he is. Look at the good. Look at that little sliver of good. Because everybody's got within themselves an awesome treasure of goodness. So we look for the little sliver in every person. Sometimes it's covered with a lot of facade, with a lot of fake, with a lot of, people have to show themselves as being big and being heroes and being special and being show-offy, whatever it may be. Person needs to allow themselves to see that little sliver of goodness. Hashem says that's the first thing. You're leaving now Egypt. You guys are all slaves. I know you have a slave mentality. You're going to need 40 years in the desert. Don't forget, always find the good in another person. It's a very, very powerful lesson. And we'll tell you a little story about one man. Shaholach im chacham basad v'rod nevela achas mesarachas amar osa adam kama masrachas nevela zu. So a group of students went with their rabbi, and they were going through a forest. In the middle of the forest, they smell the stench. They see that there's a dead carcass of an animal. So they say, it's disgusting. What a terrible smell. What did the rabbi say? Kama levanim shinei, but look how beautiful his teeth are. Look how beautiful his teeth are. Hachacham ochiach la'osa adam ve'amar lo. Lamar tomar hagnai shala, tomar shvach. Why are you saying that what the sage was telling his students wasn't anything but don't look at the negative. Look at the positive. Focus on the positive. A person should always talk about the positivity, about the positive that there is in this world. There's so much good in this world. Person must take the opportunity to identify the good that is around him and to praise it. You hear this, Mark? It's an important thing. You got to look for the good. You got to look for the good. Search for it. It's there. It's waiting. Just identify it. How many people get so encouraged it changes their life because one person saw their virtue. One person brought their qualities to light, and that saved them. Particularly our own children. We have to find the sliver of good. You're going to have children, some are going to be easier, some are going to be more difficult. You've got to find that sliver of goodness in each one and praise it. Praise it. Bring it to life. All right, my dear friends, this concludes day number 140
You've been listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe on a podcast produced by Torch, the Torah Outreach Resource Center of Houston. Please help sponsor an episode so we can continue to produce more quality Jewish content for our listeners around the globe. Please visit torchweb.org to donate and partner with us on this incredible endeavor.